Christmas in Nigeria is a season filled with joy, giving, and togetherness. Families gather to cook delicious meal, exchange gifts, and visit loved ones. It's a time when community comes alive with music, laughter, and colorful celebration. For Blessing, this Christmas was no different, or so she thought. Early on Christmas morning, Blessing was busy in the kitchen preparing a rich and flavored stew. The aroma of fresh spices and smoky jollof rice filled the air, spreading warmth and hunger throughout the house. She hummed softly as she stirred the pot, satisfied with her progress. She glanced at the neatly packed bowls of rice, stew, fried plantain, and chicken set aside for sharing. Her heart swelled with kindness as she remembered her friend Mrs. Olushi. Obinna, she called out, her voice echoing into the living room where her son was playing with his new toy car. Yes, Mama, Obinna responded, rushing in, his face lit up with excitement. Take this food to Mrs. Olushi. Wish her a Merry Christmas for me, Leslie said, carefully placing the container in his hands. Obina's eyes widened. He loved delivering meals during Christmas, especially because it often came with unexpected rewards. He grinned mischievously and said, Yes, Mama, I will do it quickly. Obina dashed outside carefully, balancing the food in his hands. As he stepped into the street, the lively sound of Christmas filled the air. Children playing, neighbors chanting, and fireworks popping in the distance. Obina, Obina, where are you going? One of his friends shouted, spotting him from across the street. To deliver Christmas food, Obina replied proudly, holding up the container like a trophy. The group of boys erupted in cheers. Big Ma Obina, Big Ma Obina. Don't forget us when the money start rolling in. No. They teased, they laughed, and they clapped. Ha ha ha. Obina popped his chest and marched forward, their shares boosting his confidence. He knew the Christmas season was always generous and he couldn't wait to see what reward awaits him. When Obinna finally arrived at Mrs. Olushi's house, he paused for a moment. He placed the bowl down and quickly lifted the lid, inspecting the food. The rice was still hot, the stew was intact, and the plantain smells heavily. Satisfied, he covered it again and knocked gently on the door. The door cracked open. Mrs. Olushi appeared, her face lighting up in surprise. "Ha, Obinna, Merry Christmas, my dear," she exclaimed, stepping aside to let him in. "Merry Christmas, ma," Obinna replied, presenting the food with a wide smile. Mrs. Olushi's eyes lingered on the bowl, her lips curling into a tight smile. "Thank you, my child. Tell your mother I appreciate this." Obinna stood there, softly adjusting his posture and rocking on his heels, waiting expectantly. He knew better than to rush, so he waited in style, hands behind his back and shoulders squared. Mrs. Olushi noticed and chuckled. "Wait, let me give you something," she said, disappearing into the back room. Obinna's face broke into smile, his imagination already picturing drinks or gifts naira notes. When she returned, she handed him 100 naira notes. Obinna smiled. "Thank you, ma," he said, clutching the money tightly before heading out the door. Unknowing to Blessing, her act of kindness had been met with bitterness. Behind closed doors, Mrs. Olushi expressions darkened as she stared at the food. Blessing will never enjoy this Christmas, she muttered under her breath. My people, may our kindness not bring us pain. May our kindness not bring our family sorrow. So before we continue to see what actually transpired between Blessing and Olushi, kindly hit the subscribe button, like and share so as to encourage our growth. Thank you. I know you have done it. So now let's go back into the story. Years ago, Blessing had lent Olushi money in her time of need. Despite several reminders, Olushi delayed repayments for months. When she finally paid the money, she felt insulted and harbored resentment towards Blessing. Later that afternoon, Obinna started feeling unwell. Mama, my stomach hurt, he said, holding his belly. Blessing thought it was a reaction to sweet he had bought with the money from Olushi, but as the day progressed, his condition worsened. By evening, Obinna weak and feverish, his eyes bloodshot. Panicked, Blessing and her husband Emeka rushed him to the hospital. Despite the doctor's best effort, there was no clear diagnosis. One of them advised, "You need to pray. This is beyond medicine." Next day, Blessing went home to pick up some few items from the house. As she opened the door and went inside, as she was about leaving, Mrs. Olushi came with a basket full of fruits and was like, Blessing, my friend, is everything okay?" Blessing began to explain to her. Obinna is unwell and is at the hospital. Mrs. Olushi, in her mind, she was very happy that her plans are manifested, but she felt sorry on her face. She was like, "Don't worry, you will be fine in Jesus' name. Please help me give him this basket of fruits." Blessing collected the basket of fruits and thanked her for her kindness. When Blessing got to the hospital, the doctor called Emeka and Blessing out and told them that this issue is beyond medical, that they should start to pray. Desperate, Blessing and Emeka turned to prayer, fasting and crying out to God for their son's healing. On the third day, something strange happened. As they prayed, Obinna suddenly screamed, and the basket of fruit Olushi had gifted them began to shake violently before them. To their shock, the fruit transformed into bats, flying out and vanishing into the night. Instantly, Obinna's condition improved. His fever broke and he regained his strength. The family was overwhelmed with gratitude, knowing God had delivered them from an unseen attack. Later, news spread through the neighborhood. Mrs. Olushi had gone mad, wandering in the street and speaking nonsense. People whispered about her strange behavior, speculating that her wickedness had backfired. For Blessing and her family, the Christmas became a powerful reminder of the importance of prayer and vigilance. They learned that not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions, even during a season of goodwill. This story encourages us to remain prayerful and discerning. As you celebrate this season, remember to guard your home and loved ones with prayers. May this Christmas bring you peace, joy, and protection. Stay blessed. Thanks for watching.